Why is medieval philosophy hard to understand? Have you ever wondered why medieval philosophy seems so challenging? The answer lies in its close ties to the culture and religion of medieval Europe. Unlike modern philosophy, medieval thinkers often viewed philosophy as a tool to support and explain theological beliefs. This means their work is filled with complex religious questions and specialized language that can be puzzling for today's readers. One of the main reasons is the heavy focus on theology. Philosophers like Thomas Aquinas saw philosophy as a helper to theology. They aimed to clarify and defend religious beliefs, which means understanding their work often requires some knowledge of medieval Christian theology. Another factor is the reliance on ancient authorities. Medieval philosophers frequently reference the works of ancient thinkers, especially Aristotle and Plato. However, they access these texts through Latin translations and commentaries. Their writings assume that readers are familiar with these ancient texts and the commentaries that can be quite dense and technical. The language used in these texts is also a barrier. Many are written in Latin and use specialized philosophical and theological vocabulary. They often follow literary forms unique to the period, like the Summa, which is a systematic summary of knowledge and disputed questions, which are structured debates on specific issues. These forms differ from modern philosophical writing and requiring understanding their structure and purpose. Additionally, the historical context is essential. The medieval period, spanning from the 5th to the 15th century, was a time of significant change. To grasp medieval philosophy, one must understand the role of the Church, the transmission of ancient philosophy through figures like Boethius, and the rediscovery of Aristotle's works in the 12th century. This historical backdrop is crucial for comprehending the philosophical discussions of the time. Medieval philosophers also tackled complex problems, such as the existence and nature of universals. They explored the relationship between faith and reason and delved into metaphysical questions about time, being, and causality. Their discussions often involve subtle distinctions and technical terms that may be unfamiliar to modern readers. Moreover, the integration of philosophy and theology makes it hard to separate purely philosophical arguments from theological commitments. Philosophical reasoning was often aimed at supporting theological doctrines, embedding it within a framework that assumes certain religious beliefs. In practical terms, studying medieval philosophy requires some background in classical philosophy and medieval Christian theology. It also helps to understand the medieval educational system, which emphasized the liberal arts as foundations for philosophical and theological study. In summary, the difficulty of understanding medieval philosophy arises from its specialized religious content, reliance on ancient authorities, unfamiliar language, and the historical context where philosophy and theology were closely connected.